Major, it seems we finally made it back.
That we have. It's great to hear your voice again, Snake. But there's no time for pleasantries. We have a mission to conduct.
Oh yeah, the release of Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta Snake Eater. Quite a mouthful if you ask me. But let's cut to the chase before Eva unzips her shirt again. This is a no-brainer, right?
Well, it's complicated.
Complicated?
It's not a question of quality. The game's still one of the best. But calling this game a remake, I think, is frankly generous.
What do you mean?
The gameplay is updated and the controls are tightened to be more accessible. But apart from that, everything in this game is the exact same that you saw in 2004. Cutscene direction, level design, and dialogue, all pulled from the original.
Even the shots of the cutscenes?
The very same.
So you're telling me Konami is charging $70 for a game that already exists?
In a manner of speaking, yes.
Why aren't more people calling this out?
Well, that's why I said it's complicated. It's still an exceptional game, and the changes made greatly enhance it. But if you want a more detailed analysis, there's someone who can give it to you. And frankly, I think you're going to like what he has to say.
Does he like it?
Yes, he does.
Alright, let's go!
I give my life, not for honor, but for you.
Metal Gear Solid Delta is one of those weird games where in any other circumstance, we'd be calling this a remaster in a similar way to Halo Anniversary Edition, but it changes just enough to be qualified as a remake, so that when Konami go to court, they can defend themselves. But the reason why nobody's taking up pitchforks and torches and marching to Konami HQ is because the changes they made here are upgrades to the gameplay to make it feel less janky, and that basically means the already all-time great game just became undeniable, if it wasn't already for you. And that's especially great since the last time Konami touched Metal Gear without Kojima, well, let's just say it wasn't ideal. So I think everybody's happy that they didn't risk fucking anything up, and everything is the same. They kept everything. Shots of the cutscene, layouts of the areas, you could still wear blackface, the sexy posters are back, a buff Soviet man grabs another Soviet man's dick. Okay, props to Konami for leaving all those in. And I think two things could be true at once. One, this is the absolute, hands-down greatest way to play Metal Gear Solid 3. And two, this should not be $70.
Y'all smoking crack! Something is wrong with you people!
I don't think that charging AAA premium price for a game that we've all played before is acceptable, especially given the Oblivion remaster earlier this year only charged $50. But that doesn't mean this isn't a great game. At the same time, that means that talking about Metal Gear Solid Delta would just mean that I would be discussing Metal Gear Solid 3 in general. So that's exactly what this video is going to be. Because at the end of the day, this is what cemented Kojima as one of the top visionaries in gaming. And seeing it revived like this shows that this game has held up incredibly well. And it also gives me an excuse to talk about Metal Gear Solid 3. Honestly, the hardest thing about this is trying not to make a Maxor reference.
Man, Eva sure does pack a punch.
Whoa. What are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
I just brought you two on for the intro. I do the rest of the video.
Forget that. This is my game.
Do you really expect us to sit here and watch someone else comment on the game that we are in without offering any input?
Yes!
Major, when you said someone can give us detailed analysis, I didn't think you meant some kid in his mom's basement.
Hey, I'm not in the basement.
Give him a chance, Snake, and I'm sure you'll find him adequate. Although I will admit, he can be a little underwhelming at times.
Whoa, underwhelming? What the fuck?
Yeah, I can tell. He also sounds like that banana bread at work guy I've seen online.
Hell yeah.
Think of it like this, Snake. Given his recent viewership on his videos, I don't think anyone's gonna watch this anyway.
Okay, that's a low blow.
So you won't have to worry about anyone associating you with him, in case he makes an ass out of himself.
I guess you're right.
Hey, can I do my video now, please? This intro's long enough already.
I've been waiting for you this whole time.
Jesus Christ. Look, you guys can stay, and if you have any meaningful points you can add in, I'm fine with that. But just remember, the star of the show is me.
Is that why you haven't had a video over 5,000 views in 2 months?
Motherfucker!
Does this guy at least have a catchphrase or something, Major?
Why, yes, Snake. Yes, he does.
Don't you do it.
It goes like this.
Don't do it.
Strap in, boys and girls.
Do not redeem it!
And let's commence this virtuous mission. That's not even the right line, dude.
So, here we are. And before we even discuss the game itself, there's a big, fat, massive elephant in the room. And that is the performance. Now, I'm no tech guy, so don't expect system specs or whatever you nerds talk about, but I played on PS5 where it looks like most of the damages. The mere fact that at times the frame rate drops to what looks like 30, where there's more action going on, or just taking out a torch in the cave section and it tanks, that's unacceptable. And not to mention people reporting the quality can drop to 720p. What the hell are we doing here?
Look, CD, I know this looks bad, but can we really blame Konami here? After all, this is an Unreal Engine 5 game, and using that to guarantee that your game is going to come out in a less than optimized state.
Yeah, Snake, Unreal 5 doesn't have a great track record with performance, but the difference here is that most of those problems that happen with Unreal 5 happen on PC, which is, fastly becoming the place where gamers can go to get their dicks kicked in. But console is usually the safe spot because devs primarily make games for that hardware and then scale their games to PC specs. And the fact that it's worse here and also bad on PC means that the blame lies entirely with Konami, no matter what problems guys encounter with Unreal. And I don't even think it's Unreal 5's fault most of the time. I think it's a developer problem. You should have delayed this game if you knew it was gonna be this bad. And also, for the love of God, why are cutscenes running at 30 FPS on performance mode? This may be a nitpick to some, but the original's cutscenes were able to run at 60 all the way through. Is Unreal unable to render 60 FPS cutscenes without collapsing in on itself? I don't think you're gonna find anyone that doesn't see this as an instant downgrade. It's not more cinematic, it makes it look more amateur. I mean, with all these problems, this game single-handedly managed to get people to finally start calling out Unreal 5 because of its track record. That's how bad this was. Talk however you want about Kojima, but his games have always been as smooth as Eva's Goombas.
Look at the big booba Snake.
What? And if he was overseeing this game and this was put in front of him, he'd laugh for about 30 seconds and then send it back for another month or two. But now we got the bad out of the way, it's time we get to the game itself. So let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about Delta. So Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the greatest stealth action games ever made, but I think I could say this while risking angering the disciples of Kojima. The original's gameplay was very janky. From the shooting where you had to stop in your tracks and move your camera to where you want, and then pray your bullets hit the guy in front of you, to not being able to move while crouching and instead having to go into proning. Let's be real, it's not fluid for today's standards. In Delta, they managed to take the modernity of something like the Phantom Pain and bring it here while still keeping the identity of Snake Eater, because while it could have been something more akin to the Phantom Pain with all of its depth, it's not that. You have a new third-person aiming that actually functions like an aiming system, which is great for me because the way I do stealth is not so much I'm something you can't see, more like I'm the last thing you see. Because the best way to make sure nobody sees you is definitely get on an MG and gun down the rest of the guards. Yeah, the Sorrow fight is always a doozy for me, at least when I roleplay as my ex-girlfriend and forget to take the pill. You can also have the option to switch to first-person mode while aiming to replicate the original, which I never used, but I'm glad it's there for the fans of that version. You can now also move while crouching, so you have a great middle ground rather than having to either walk upright or crawl, which doesn't really make sense if you're a stealth operative. Like, you can crouch while walking, that seems normal. All of this combined with the legendary camo system makes for an even better experience, because I may have some viewers who've never played the original game, but in Metal Gear Solid 3, when you go into bushes, you're not completely safe like in games today. You see this? This is your camo index. This indicates your, well, camouflage in the world. The higher it is, the less enemies will be able to see you. A pretty cool quality of life feature now is that you can press up on the D-pad and change your camo on the fly without going into the menu and doing it manually. Same thing goes with the codex, although you still have to go into the menu anyway, so there's that. Oh look, it's the Croc scene. I have such fond memories of this. And one thing, I thank the Lord above was brought in. When an enemy suspects you, you can actually see the direction of where they are. Back in the original, if somebody got curious to where you were, you just had to guess where the direction of the was coming from and hope you could get out of their line of sight. This may be another hot take too, but I didn't like this about the original, because how could you expect anyone to get better at the game when they don't even know what direction they have to watch out for? That motion detector doesn't help out in the heat of the moment. Now, when you get detected, you get the white exclamation point and the direction where the guy is, so you can back away and hopefully avoid him. You at least know where you're about to get detected from, and thank God for that feature. Oh my God, I think when I saw this, that was the moment where I was like, alright, I'm fine with this remake.
Major, I'm trying to sneak around, but the clap of my ass, the third-person camera view while prone in the bushes is really making things way harder than it has to be.
My thoughts exactly. In the original, when you proned in the bushes, it automatically switched to first person. But here, it's still in third person, which causes the camera to have a mind of its own at times. Utter rubbish, if you ask me.
So that's the stuff that they changed, and in my opinion, made better. But what about the stuff they kept the same? So as I said before, Delta was able to retain the identity of Snake Eater, and that's because they kept incredible systems like the...
Hey, ZD, I got this part. I can explain it better than anyone. May I?
Sure. Go for it.
Thanks. Hey, limp dicks!
Oh, shit.
Welcome to the Big Boss's Guide on how to be a man. I bet in other stealth games you're used to having your hand held like the pretty little princess you are. Well, you ain't no princess here. You're the jester, because you make me laugh at how shit you are at this.
Who's that?
Here, you're never completely safe from the enemy. That bush you'll have to whack off in, the enemy will see it. So what are you gonna do about it? Slap on some camo, and don't fucking move. But it's up to you whether or not you're good enough. Oh, I see you have a gunshot wound because you didn't do what I fucking asked. Oh, don't worry, I'm sure there's a med kit I could use with ease. Hell no! Here we treat our wounds like a man. We disinfect, we stabilize, we bandage ourselves up because God didn't put us here to have things handed to us. He put us here to pound cakes and eat snakes. And speaking of eating steaks, you see that health bar? You think my stamina raises on its own? Nah, get that stamina up and you'll start seeing rewards. Oh, but my stamina recovers after I stop running. Shut up, bitch! We eat to get swole here. And out here in the jungle, we hunt our own food. Get everything yourself, then eat it raw. Don't cook it, don't smoke it, eat it raw. How does this stuff taste? Figure it out. The jungle ain't no place for limp dicks. And if you want to get bitches to love your solid snake, just do what I want to see. Do we understand what the fuck I want to see? Let's go eat a goddamn snake. Back to you, ZD.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're gonna need to do the 8-week Rex Kwon Do program over here to get through this game. Because let me tell you, this is some of the best level design in a stealth game I think I've ever seen. The game gives you many opportunities to stay hidden, but will have enemies in just the right spot. So when you think you're in the clear, you realize there's a guy a few feet from the spot you're gonna be in, and you'll be completely exposed. But with a little detection time you have, any mistake can mean an entire platoon is brought down on you. But that adds to the fun of playing, because in this game, more than any, you actually have to think like a stealth operative, and that means very little dicking around. If you kill or CQC somebody, move the body or else everyone will be placed on high alert and start searching for you, which throws off their normal patrol routes. Which becomes a problem once you get later into the game when you arrive at, hands down, the hardest stealth level in any game I've ever played. The impenetrable fortress of Groznygrad. Wait, hold on a second. Dude, I don't know how anybody gets through Groznygrad without getting spotted in some way. Mostly because of the interior part where you have to find General Rykov, knock him out and steal his uniform so you can enter Sokolov's room, but you have to find him first, roaming around randomly while avoiding the guards and scientists that patrol the area, and you can't use the lab coat like you used in the lab area, so good luck not getting seen by a stray scientist somewhere. Most of the time, it just ends with me shooting the place up. Oh, Dr. Octavius, you have a family at home. Should have thought about that earlier. If someone came up to me and said that they played Metal Gear Solid 3 without getting caught, they would earn my eternal respect. Because sneaking through this game without getting caught is commando shit. This was when Kojima was at his peak, and it definitely shows in everything associated with the level design. But now we get to what many people consider the greatest story that Kojima has ever written. Because if there's one thing that Metal Gear Solid 3 does, it leaves you with a feeling of emptiness that not many other games can. I know that this game is over 20 years old, so you no doubt have heard about this already, but since I'm primarily focusing on Delta, and this may be some of my viewers' first time experiencing it, if that is the case for you and you don't want to be spoiled, here's the timestamp. Alright, let's roll. So as I said earlier in the video, the story in Delta is shot for shot with the original, in both dialogue and cutscenes, just with a UE5 paint job on it. And for the most part, they look good. not sure how I feel about Vulcan's face. I don't know, something about it just is not jiving with me. But in terms of the story itself, it's an espionage mission during the height of the Cold War, where you have to retrieve the Soviet scientist Sokolov, but along the way, you are betrayed by your mentor, who also happens to be a legendary soldier who apparently turned the tide in World War II. Good luck! And what follows is a story about loyalty and duty to one's country and how it can conflict with your personal beliefs, along with stopping a giant tank that launches nuclear missiles. It also has the best roster of characters in any Metal Gear game hands down, from the imposing Colonel Volgin to the sexy and mysterious Eva, to the quiet dominance of the boss and the absolute cinema of a young Ocelot.
Don't say it, don't say it.
You want to see how this guy handles a horde of bees? I mean, come on, dude. That's amazing. To the Cobra unit, who might be the best enemy group in the entire series, the pain, the fury, the end, the sorrow, and of course... I think this is the perfect showcase for Kojima's writing because, like it still is today, the writing isn't particularly strong, but the story beats are incredible, so the bland, meandering, expository writing is sort of masked by the great characters and the great moments. Like, be honest with yourself, before we fight the boss in the final battle after everything we've been through, do we need to kill the pacing with a 5-minute exposition scene on how the boss ended up where she is? We couldn't have a better way of giving this info to the player, but the fact that we're already invested in the character of the boss, that we're willing to sit through that cutscene, is precisely why this works. The boss as a character in general is set up through lengthy codec calls that tells us she's a legendary hero, but then in the iconic bridge scene, we see exactly why she's called that when she proceeds to beat the living shit out of Snake. So although we got that lengthy exposition on her, the fact that we were also showed the extent of her abilities early on shows just how much of a threat the boss actually is and immediately establishes her as an absolute badass. You see how this dynamic works here? Well, let me give you another example. The Codex. If Kojima fanboys are mesmerized by the boring, meandering exposition and Death Stranding's holograms, Snake Eater's Codex have them splooging over their own stomachs. Because if you're looking for the best way to give exposition, the Codex are the exact way to do it for one simple reason. It's an actual conversation. Why do you think I want to listen to Paramedic talk about different jungle animals? Because Snake's responses are gold.
So how do they taste?
Snake,
What?
they're rats.
I know what they are. Do they taste okay? Not as food?
Come again?
They weren't imported as food.
They're not for eating.
So, how does it taste?
It's supposed to be pretty good.
All right.
I guarantee every person out there who has played any Kojima game prefers a conversation where people can bounce points off each other rather than having it be a one-way discussion.
It's just a better way of delivering information to us as the players. But the reason why the story of Metal Gear Solid 3 is so memorable is because how it handles the theme of duty over beliefs. You see, characters like Volgin, Ocelot, Eva, the Cobra unit, and the conflict right in front of you, all of that is just window dressing. Now tell me, Snake, in capitalist fuck! Because the real story is channeled through Snake and the boss. Throughout half of the game, Snake is an ironclad soldier that is willing to die for his country no matter what. And I mean ironclad. Like, Eva wants to be part of my world? Nah, that's gay. Let me goon over this new pistol I just got. But once the boss defects and his new mission is to eliminate her, he clearly doesn't want to. After all, she was his mentor that taught him all he knows. These two had a bond that was deeper than love. But he has to do it or else there's gonna be a nuclear war. His duty is like, it doesn't matter what you think. Now, while avoiding nuclear conflict is a pretty valid duty to have, having to kill your mentor after more than 20 years of camaraderie is not an easy pill to swallow. But in the end, Snake does it because it's his duty and for the literal betterment of mankind. But the gut punch doesn't come until the end. Until the twist. You see, after finally going to town on the Little Mermaid, she leaves you a recording, and it turns out
that the boss's defection was a complete setup by the US government to infiltrate the Gru faction for the purpose of finding something called the Philosopher's Legacy, which is the precursor plans for what would end up becoming the Patriots. And it was going well, until Vulcan shoots off a nuke for shits and giggles. Now, since America had to do something to prove its innocence, they tell the boss that she will have to die in order for the world to be saved. And not only that, in order for them to fully prove their innocence beyond a shadow of a doubt, her favorite apprentice would have to be the one to do it. And she accepts it because it's her duty. So America had one of the most legendary soldiers fake a defection, and then when things went off the rails, sacrifice her to the equivalent of her son. The US government. You know what I mean? You want to know how Naked Snake became the villain big boss? You want to know how somebody so loyal to their country could end up despising them and making his own international militia to spite them? This is exactly how it would happen. Place all your faith in something that will have you turn on your loved ones if it means just a hint of more power for the people up top. It is heartbreaking when you hear this, and it makes the boss one of the most tragic characters, not only in Metal Gear Solid, but in all of gaming. And the only time Snake can truly salute after Operation Snake Eater is at her grave, because what should have been a moment of triumph is now nothing more than a moment of shame. You've been quiet over there, guys. Everything good?
This isn't a topic I get happy discussing, so respectfully, fuck off.
Alright, hey, you guys wanted to be here, but it's not until the end of the game do you truly feel the weight of your actions. And once you start feeling them, you understand exactly why this once proud patriot would turn traitor. So as you can see, sir, that's Metal Gear Solid Delta. Well, I would, sir, but we have to remember this is a remake of a game that doesn't change a lot in the grand scheme of things. Frankly, I don't even think it should be charging what it is. But of course, the original is a 10 out of 10 just based on its influence alone. Yes, sir. You do understand I can't go any higher than this. Of course, I'm always at your disposal, Mr. Director. It's settled then. Metal Gear Solid Delta is an 8 out of 10.